murder their children and to steal their land. That's what the children of Israel are told they can do by way of the first 5 or so books of the Bible.
Except Dr. King would probably tell you that he drew his inspiration from parts of the Sermon on the Mount, which is considered the main source of Christian pacifism.
Yes, but he's the stuff he talks about is Moses going to the mountaintop. Indeed, I think it is the most moving speech he makes is the night before he dies or is murdered. He says, "I've been to the mountaintop, and I know I'm not going to see Canaan. It's far enough for me. I've seen all I have to." And it's eerie watching it, because you know what he doesn't, which is he isn't going to make it. In fact, he's not going to make it to sunset the next day. As it happens, it was a favorite speech of his. He made it on dozens of occasions. It was part of his repertoire. It's a little less eerie when you know that. But I just say I'm very glad that Moses was not, in fact, his mentor, because if so, King would have been a bloodthirsty, conquering, racist and slavemonger, which it's a good thing he wasn't. The great problem with the King legacy is this. It's meant that for every school child in America, the legacy of black secularism in the civil rights movement has been completely abolished. The people who actually organized the March on Washington, A. Philip Randolph, for example, fantastic black trade union leader, Bayard Rustin, a brilliant black socialist intellectual, the people who actually did it. And Philip Randolph proposed the first March in Washington during the years of Franklin Roosevelt. All these people are gone. And it's the prevailing view among most white liberals that black people only really respond to preachers. And as a result, an enormous number of black frauds have been foisted on the population, as long as they can get the word reverend in front of their name. Jeremiah Wright, Jesse Jackson, the Al Sharpton. I mean, Chaucerian frauds of the lowest kind. Everyone thinks, well, they must be okay because these black guys, they sure love them some ministers. It's not a good thing.
Christopher, I'll press you on this point.
Please.
I'll press you on this point because your argument is if he was to take biblical texts, he would have got his followers to turn their swords upon their oppressors. But if he actually took his moral compass, if his moral compass was in fact based upon the Sermon on the Mount, based upon the Beatitudes, it would be turn the other cheek, love your enemy as yourself, blessed are the peacemakers. These are things you don't mention at all in your book, and yet they did inform his teachings.
Just a second on the oppressors. Moses wasn't telling his followers that they could kill their oppressors. He was saying that they could kill anyone who got in their way. That's why we don't run into any Amalekites anymore, for example. And he explicitly said, I mean, I'm not a pacifist. If Martin Luther King had said to his people, you have the right to rebel and resist and use violence against racism, I would have been absolutely with him, as I have been on other occasions when that's been the case. But he would, to be consistent, he had to say, no, we have the right to enslave people, and we have the right to commit genocide. That's what the biblical precedent would be. As for the Beatitudes, that is, it seems to me, pacifism in its strictly immoral sense. It says it's wrong to resist evil. I don't think that's true. I think it's immoral to say that you shouldn't resist evil.
Let's go back to the general proposition that...
And by the way, to say you love your neighbor as yourself is what I mean by compulsory love. It's a very sinister injunction. You cannot possibly love another person in the same way as you love, say, your lover or your family, or let alone, in my case at any rate, yourself. It's asking too much. The golden rule says it's asking too much, and that